Should you buy or scale your real estate portfolio during a volatile market like it is in 2025? Hello, my name is Brown-Phillips, and I am the host of the Never Lose a Deal podcast. Here at this podcast, I discuss creative financing strategies for you to scale and expand your real estate portfolio. And so that is why I thought this topic would be a great topic. Now, let me just give you some context of where we are at during the filming of me doing this video. Currently, right now, we're in a very sensitive and volatile market. And so there are a group of people who say this is a good time to get started in real estate. And then there is a group of people who say, hey, you know what? I'm going to sit it out. And what I have realized in my years of being involved in real estate is I have seen some of the greatest opportunities during a time of uncertainty. I've shared this story many times before, and I will continue sharing it. Got started in real estate in 2008. And if you know anything about 2008, that was the time of the real estate crash. Now, depending on who you talk to, depending on the context of who you're getting your story from, some people will say, you know what, it was a crash and burn situation for me in real estate. And then there's a group of people who will say, hey, I got some of the best deals during 2008. And I say that now that we are in a market like today, there are some same people who are still having those same types of conversations and that same type of sentiment. I was reading an article, and the article was talking about the volatility, and that's why I wanted to do this article. I wanted to do this podcast. And I thought about the individuals who would be hesitant with buying right now are going to be the house hackers. And that's why I always say individuals who house hack is different than the group of people that want to scale their portfolio. Because a lot of times with house hacking, and I know I'm going to piss a lot of people off because I get it, a lot of people have built wealth doing the house hacking um, strategy, but it doesn't take any type of expertise to buy a property right off the MLS or what have you, get a mortgage, and own it. Doesn't take no type of expertise. Why? Because a lot of times, as long as the price is in a price range that you can afford, you can make the monthly payments, you can get approved for a mortgage, you can get tenants who's going to pay the other half of that mortgage payment or the full mortgage payment amount. Doesn't take no type of expertise. But what does take expertise is that when you decide to buy multiple properties, especially in a time now where there's a lot of uncertainty, about a year ago, you may have had somebody who told you, you know what, Section 8 is the best thing since sliced bread. And so you may have had some investors who went out and bought a lot of properties and put Section 8 tenants in it. But like I said, given context to what's going on today with the government shutdown, right as I film this podcast, Section 8 is still the funds are still going to be dispersed. Processing applications is a bit slower. So imagine taking a strategy of what you've heard a year ago and applying it in this market. That's why I said that's much different than just buying something and just getting approved and just owning it. Now more than ever, the boring side of real estate is going to be the side that you are going to want to pay close attention to, because investors who are heavily weighted in the Section 8 area, I would pray that that is what they are doing, that they're literally looking at their portfolio. Going back to what I talked about in a few episodes back, what I talked about doing a debt stress test. A debt stress test allows you to see if you're over leveraged or what areas are you exposed. This now more than ever is what is going to take. That's a whole different skill set than I'm just going to buy something, get a mortgage, and have someone to pay my mortgage or half of whatever the strategy may be with house hacking. A lot of times it does not require you to do the numbers. And that is why when it comes to the scaling piece of it, many people think that scaling a real estate portfolio has to do with just wanting more real estate, but it really is more of a planning that has to take place, because you are going to take on more. You're going to take on more debt, possibly. It's very rare. And let me just say this. Why would a person want to? Why would a person, especially in a market like now, why would you want to use all your liquidity? Let's just say you don't even want to do financing, you don't want to even do funding. Why would you take all your liquidity to be able to buy a property? Well, let me tell you why. So a lot of people will do that because they're running from the area that they don't really want to do, which is looking at the numbers. Because when you are looking at your portfolio and doing some type of debt stress test, you do have to look at and run calculations. Hey, whether you get Chat GPT to do it, and if Chat is doing it, you better make sure you're looking at that spreadsheet to make sure Chat is doing things the right way, make sure those calculations are right, or you're manually doing it. At the end of the day, what areas are you exposed at? You know, and that's why I said it takes a different skill set to be able to buy a property in this type of market, because people have said to me, Lorelia, how are people still buying in this real estate market? Depending on where you are in the country, New Jersey is still holding steady. um, the real estate prices continue to climb. Is the bottom going to fall out? I'm not sure. I tell people I'm no Nostradamus. I don't know what the future holds, but this is what I tell people. If you want to really know what direction the market is going to go to in terms of interest rates and volatility, you need to be studying the bond market. Once again, that takes time and expertise. The bond market is what actually regulates how mortgage rates are going to go up or going to go down. It's not a magic trick. And even if you don't want to get that minuscule skill when it comes to looking and calculating your portfolio, you still need to have some what ifs. You have to run your what if scenarios, because in this market, this is not the market to be sold on. All I'm going to do is just buy a property, get a mortgage, and voila, and hope that the tenant that I put in it will pay my mortgage. Because like I said, it takes no expertise. Why? Because a lot of times the price that you could be buying today, if you're buying it at retail, the next couple of months, it could be 3 months, it could be in 6 months, it may not even be valued at that price. So, but what does take expertise and learn and understanding is how to be able to find deals that are underpriced, that are not at retail, and your ability to create equity even when there is none, or know when to pass on those deals. because you want to be able to hedge against if interest rates go up, and I'm currently holding on to a property, or I want to buy a property. Am I buying it priced low enough that if the mortgage values fall, I don't lose a lot of equity in my home? And then also, will the rents, what happens if some of the tenants that are living in my portfolio of real estate assets, what happens if they were to get laid off? Even though, let me give you some numbers. Even though in New Jersey real estate prices are still holding steady, but there's a massive layoffs going on. And some of the one some of the biggest industries, one being pharmaceuticals, legal pharmaceuticals. We got Novartis. Novartis is doing a very big major layoff. We're another big pharmaceutical company, Bristol Myers Squibb. New Jersey is pretty much in this country the hub of where most major pharmaceutical companies or some of the generics are based. I'm not saying in other states they're not present, but New Jersey is home to many of them. Right now, where I live, Pfizer, right up the road from me, one town over, is their big global headquarters. If anybody is familiar with Pfizer and you know where that's at, their global headquarters is literally a 5-minute ride away from where I live in the next town over. Now, let me just say this: after the 2020 pandemic, and people were not, in the office space because it's a massive campus. I mean, it's huge. um I guess they realized they didn't need all that office space. So I know the plans were that they were closing that global office that is in New Jersey, which is in Peapack, New Jersey. So I know they were selling off areas of that. I believe they probably were going to sell that land, and I'm not sure who bought it. But I say all that to say, relating that to real estate, um, much different than the house hacker. Not knocking house hacking, but a lot of people think house hacking is the same as scaling and expanding a real estate portfolio. And it's the furthest thing from the truth. Can house hacking get you there? Yes, but they're not the same. I don't let the internet fool you. They will have you believing that house hacking is scaling, and it's not. Scaling really does involve, if done right, really looking at different areas of the portfolio and being able to say, what is it that you are looking to do? Are you looking to create more income, save on taxes, whatever the case may be, plan for retirement, and how buying that real estate and expanding that portfolio is going to help you in I just named just a few areas. So I say that to say, in 2025, October, like I said, as I film this, 15 days, or should I say 14 days, since the government shut down. Um, is this the right time to buy? And I'm going to say it is a great time to buy, only because based on what I've been exposed to. I got into, I tell people this all the time. Some of my best opportunities were in times of uncertainty. 2008, and then even in 2020, when a lot of times when I do my trainings, I show people, because I'm a person who's going to show receipts. I show people of a real estate transaction that I closed on a few days before the shutdown. I want to say less than 5 days. It was like in a 3-day period of closing on something, and then also during the pandemic closing on additional real estate. So I say that to say, even from the standpoint of me, myself, and working with people, it is the best time. But it's not the best time for people who really want to kind of play around, because you can lose your shirt. If you are investing in real estate based on feelings, how you feel, what you think. Because I tell people all the time, the unglamorous part of real estate is the part that will prevent you from not being in a jam. And it is the part of looking at data, running your numbers, whether you're going to let chat do it or some other AI tool. At the end of the day, those are the things that you need to be doing. um Not just kind of winging it and going on what someone is telling you and how you feel. Oh, I feel, because even in a market here in New Jersey where prices are still steady, but if you are that person and you are in a, because let me just say this, let me just pause for a second. Right now, for fix and flip loans, some of the things that we are looking at, and the lenders that I work with, what they are looking at, that in the event that you are rehabbing a house and you are unable to sell it due to, once again, things that you can't control the interest rates, you can't control job loss. Do you have the ability that if you can't sell, looking also at your ability to be able to still move forward with closing on the loan yourself and keeping the property and having it as a rental. Because at the end of the day, I don't care where you live, people still need a place to stay. I don't know how that's going to look with you, hoping that, as we've been told in real estate, Section 8 guaranteed money. Don't know what that's going to look like, because they've said with Section 8, if it continues, funding may not be released. But just going back to what I said, I know with a lot of lenders, that is what they're looking at. That if you were to buy this property, rehab it, and unable to sell it, will you be able to close on it yourself and keep it as a buying it and holding it, but renting it out to be able to recoup some of the money in rental revenue? So that's all I have for you. And so if running the numbers and really, and I get it, it's not glamorous, but this is what I have to say. I tell people all the time, um, if you desire to be able to expand and scale your real estate portfolio, a lot of people think, oh, just tell me what mortgage product to get. And I always tell people, it really just depends. DSCR is not for everyone. It's not the best fit for all scenarios. So be very careful of people just telling you this one mortgage solution is going to fix, or not fix, or help you to achieve what it is that you're looking at. So, it's not about finding the right funding product. It's not about finding the right financing product. It is about getting clear on your goals. And once you're clear on your goals, then we can talk about the strategies of what funding and financing would be best suited for you to scale and build out that portfolio. And I even go into with the business credit all the way to creative financing with asset based lending. So I'm going to be doing a free workshop in 2 weeks, I believe. It is October 21st, I believe. But if you want to learn more about it, go to www. You'll see it right here on the website, www.neverloseadeal.com. There you will learn more about that free webinar. And I'm going to be sharing my framework and process on how I've been able to help clients scale using business
Mhm.
credit, being and creatively leveraging asset-based lending to build out their portfolio. So I want to be able to share that process with you. And if that is something that you are interested in, please join me. Like I said, it's going to be a free webinar. And I will see you in the next